Welcome to Deep Thought. The reason a confident person is attacked. Now, we've all seen that. Your person is carrying themselves with confidence. They have their head held high. They speak with authority. They're enjoying life. But what happens to them? Let's be real. What happens to them most of the time? They get called arrogant. Or people think, oh, they ain't real. People try to attack them. First, let me address that arrogant thing. Because, okay, I'm going to bring race into this for a second. Have y'all noticed that often a confident black man gets called arrogant? And I've always had trouble with that because, well, personally, I've been called arrogant. You know? Even if I was just sitting around quiet and stuff. And I'd be quiet. But the thing is, I always believed in myself no matter what. And it wasn't based on, you know, my physical presence or anything like that. You know, I knew what I had accomplished. I knew what I could accomplish. And, you know, there were some things I dealt with, some things I had to fight for, but for the most part, I had that confidence. But then you had some other people, oh, he arrogant. And I took exception to that because arrogant means somebody behaving in a way that's undeserving. And I'm just like, huh? And I've noticed that someone of a different race who behaved the exact same way would be praised. So I always had a problem with that. But then even those people of a different race, if they confident, they still have somebody come at them. Maybe not call them arrogant, but come at them for another reason. And, you know, it's one basic reason. See, when a person is confident, it reminds the people around them, and this is regardless of race, it reminds the people around them what they don't have. Because the reality out here, a major part of the population have low self-esteem. They don't believe in themselves. They're dealing with issues. Even some people look like they should have everything together. There's a lot of people in some type of therapy. And, you know, I highly recommend the therapy if a person needs it, but a lot of people don't feel good about themselves. They don't love themselves. They focus more on their failures in life. Indeed, they might have had a whole lot of failures because I'll just say it like this. Maybe someone hasn't taught them or shared with them or imparted on them the mindset it takes to win. So when people have that attitude, what do they want to do? They run into that person who comes off as confident. So what do? They attack them. They attack them because it's basically they're saying, how dare you be confident about who you are? But really, that's what they might say, and their actions might show that. But what it really is, that person is upsetting the demons of that person with the low self-esteem. It's reminding them what they don't have. You know, part of it is an entitlement. People would feel like, well, if I'm behaving this way, everybody else should be behaving this way. But then when you have that person who's not, people have a problem with that because it makes them feel bad. It reminds them who they are not. You know, like when people succeed in a certain area or something, a lot of times, and this goes, you know, me out. You know, I talk about success mainly on my men's channel on Saturdays and here too, really. And also in my inspirational videos on Sunday. A lot of times when people aren't successful, they'll blame it on the theys. You know, the theys. I don't know whatever term you want to use. The theys are stopping us. And people try to say, well, it's all of us. But then you find that one person who's succeeding anyway. They making it against all the odds. Instead of saying, well, hold up, let's see what they doing. Oh, they must have did something. Oh, maybe they slept their way to the top. I know plenty of women have heard that. Or maybe they cheated. What did they do? Oh, you know what? They must be connected with some secret society or something. Like, come on. Oh, my goodness. It'd be all this other stuff. It'd be everything that person doesn't have. And they'll make it sound evil. You know, they'll make it sound evil. Like you do have some societies. I give an example, the Masons. You might have somebody connected with the Masons. They doing well in life and say, oh, well, they wouldn't have got there if it wasn't for them. The person who isn't a Mason is saying that. And I'm just like, well, maybe that person just had that drive. I mean, and I'm using the Masons as an example. To be clear, let me be clear, I'm not a Freemason. I've known some, talked with them, but I've never stepped foot in a Masonic temple. Never. So I can just go, and so I don't know any of the rituals and stuff. But one thing, I looked at the people themselves, the men themselves. I was like, these men were confident before they got to the Mason. They were, but someone would attack them, say, well, it's this or that. Or you get some people that look at a confident person and they'll look for the weakness. It's just like you get with some YouTube content creators who are successful. Instead of just saying the person is just, okay, the person worked hard to get to where they are, they're looking for whatever weakness. Even if the weakness don't have anything to do with the person themselves. They just don't like it, this person is successful. I'm like, first of all, this person ain't even talking about stuff that you claim to care about. This person is successful with something totally different, but you trying to find a problem. And that happens a lot. See, that confident person, it's a projection. It's bringing them down, and then a person might feel good if they can bring it down. If they can bring them down, they know they can't. And really, when they don't, it's a reminder of how powerless they feel they are. See, my thing is, if you see someone successful, you see someone confident, you pay attention to their behavior. If you can, talk to them about it. I remember back when, back in the early 90s, I met this guy, and he was actually a Mason, but he was probably one of the most confident walking. He was a black man, but he came from old money. And and when I first saw the man walking around, like other people would try to come after him, I just looked at him and I just said, I wonder what it is about him. So I started talking to him. I wasn't mad at him, I started talking with him, and then I got an idea. Oh, okay, he just have a different mindset. But I wasn't mad at him. I didn't try to break him down. Other people tried to break him down. I'm like, wait a minute. This is a man, a black man especially, in a very conservative time, walking around with confidence with his head up. Okay, what is it about him? And I learned how he came to his mentality and everything. I say, oh, okay, bet. All right, thanks for letting me know. And I was like, I'm appreciative of him. I wish I knew his last name. I would look him up. But the level of confidence he had, wow. But other people tried to come at him. And I would say this. It was like, okay, and I thought about that one time. I said, well, how come I wasn't bothered by him in the least? I actually wanted to learn from him. And everybody else was. But then I looked at how they carried themselves. These same people had some self-esteem issues. Meanwhile, this dude, his attitude was the world was his oyster. Literally, he walked like a king. He carried himself, and nothing held him back. But some people had a problem with it because they didn't have that same mindset. And that's the only reason. People, unfortunately, we live in a world where people, if they're at the bottom and they're not doing as well, instead of doing the actual work to rise, they find a reason to stay at the bottom, or they wallow in it. They get comfortable with the pain and the frustration instead of just saying, hold up, let me see who's doing something else. And I don't think that I can't call him a young man. He's about my age. Well, close to my age, within my age range. I put it like that. But if I could think of his last name, I don't think I ever knew his last name. But this dude, he just changed my mind. He actually affected my mindset on a lot of things, like even making money. I was like, because I threw out a salary to him for doing something. He was like, man, that's nothing. And he didn't say it in a mean way, but he said, nah, man, you could be doing this, this, and this. I was like, oh, snap. Yeah, I could. But a lot of people try and break him down instead of trying to learn from him. And that's the reason. Anytime a person come off as confident, people try to, they try to break them down. They try to find some psychological reason, like they compensating for something. It was like, maybe they just succeed. Ask them how. You can learn something. So just wanted to share that bit, give y'all something to think about. Anyway, think on this, and I'll get back with y'all. Peace and blessings.